show begins with Seok, the protagonist, standing atop a tall building, armed with a rifle. From a distance, he spots a man on a blind date with his crush. It's clear that the man likes her, but he hesitates to confess his feelings. That's when Seok aims his rifle and shoots him right in the heart. The viewers are stunned, but nothing happens to the man because it's a love bullet. Seok then shoots the woman too. Suddenly, the two gain the courage to confess their love for each other and hug in front of everyone, leaving the onlookers confused by their behavior. After successfully completing his mission, Seok returns home, and we learn that he is a love angel who lost his wings 500 years ago. Now, he lives in human form with his 3 friends who are just like him. One of them is cursed and turns into a dog. Seok is frustrated because his friends are lazy and no one wants to clean the house. It's gotten so bad that the friend who turns into a dog even pees on the floor. They start arguing, each refusing to take responsibility, until finally, Seok gives in and cleans the house himself. It turns out Seok acts as their servant because he feels guilty for what happened to them long ago. We're shown a flashback from 500 years ago when they were on a mission to shoot love arrows at a servant and a princess to bring them together in a beautiful love story. But Seok fell in love with the servant and stepped in to protect her, causing the mission to fail. As a result, they were all cursed, lost their wings, and lost their lives. They've concluded that the only way to break the curse is to shoot love arrows at people who struggle to confess their feelings until they regain their true forms. Back in the present, Seok continues to cook and serve his friends. He even takes the dog friend out for walks. Honestly, dear viewers, it's heartbreaking. Love can really mess you up. And poor Seok still carries the blame. That's the fate of a true lover. The next day, we meet our heroine, Baek, who works at an animal clinic. All her colleagues are jealous of her beauty, and anyone who sees her falls for her at first sight. But one of the nurses tells them that despite Baek's beauty, she's cursed. Anyone she likes or dates ends up getting hurt. She shares stories. The first boy Baek liked when they were kids ended up with a broken finger. The second was a classmate in middle school who got struck by lightning. The third was a university student who fell down the stairs and hit his head. And the fourth? He almost choked to death while eating. Thank God he survived. Since then, Baek has been afraid to fall for anyone or get into a relationship. Baek recalls a flashback from 3 years ago when she visited a fortune teller, asking how to break the curse. The fortune teller told her she was cursed because of something she did 500 years ago in a past life. To break the curse, she must climb to the top of a mountain 1,000 times. In the final attempt, the curse will break, and she'll meet the person destined to love her. Back to the hero then climbs the mountain for the 995th time. As she descends, she passes by the hero for the first time. She falls for him at first sight because he's incredibly handsome. She wants to get to know him, but fears he'll get hurt because of her curse, so she forces herself to walk away. The hero then climbs the mountain, lost in memories from 500 years ago when he still had his wings. That night, the heroine returns to her apartment, where she lives with her friend. She tells her how happy she is. The next day, the hero takes his friends out to lunch at an upscale restaurant that only allows in the rich and famous. We find out that the restaurant owner knows their secret. He personally serves them, covers their bills, and gives them anything they need. Flashbacks revealed that his grandfather, the original owner, knew the truth about them too. Before his grandfather passed, he made him promise to look after the hero and his family. He promised to look after the hero and his family, his friends, knowing they were love angels. The family owes their fortune to the angels' actions. Helping them has been a family duty for generations, passed down from his great-grandfather to his grandfather, and now to him. At first, the grandson didn't believe the story, but he decided to meet the hero to confirm it for himself. That's when the hero helped him marry the love of his life. Since then, he's been honoring his grandfather's promise. That night, as usual, the hero heads to the mountain, but on his way back, he finds a car blocking his vehicle. He can't move, so he goes into a nearby restaurant to ask whose car it is. Our heroine is inside, tipsy from too much lemon juice, completely out of it. As soon as she sees him, she stumbles toward him slurring, "Babe," and then faints in his arms. The hero is shocked and has no idea what just happened. The restaurant owner seizes the moment and demands that he pay her bill, saying, "If she's calling you babe, that means you two are in on this together." "Pay up, darling, or I'm calling the cops." With no choice, he pays the bill and carries her to his car, but he doesn't know where she lives. So he decides to leave her at the police station until she sobers up. Later that night, the police discover the bodies of 2 girls buried in the mountain. They find out the girls have been missing for 30 years. Oh no, dear viewer, things are heating up. We were following a love story, but now we've stumbled into a mystery. The next day, the hero receives a call from the police. One of the bodies they found belongs to the girl he's been searching for. The only girl he ever loved. The hero is devastated. He rushes to the police station, where they show him her scarf. He remembers the last day he saw her. She was wearing that very scarf. That night, she had confessed her feelings to him and told him to meet her at the mountain. He waited all night, but she never showed. When he went to her house to check on her, he found her family in tears, searching for her. That's when he knew something terrible had happened. Back in the present, he goes with the police to the spot where her body was found. He collapses in grief, realizing her body had been buried on the mountain right beside him all these years, and he never knew. Meanwhile, the heroine wakes up at the police station with no memory of the night before. She heads back to the mountain restaurant to figure out what happened. The restaurant owner tells her, "Your boyfriend came, carried you out of here, and we haven't seen you since." The heroine is confused and tries to recall his face, but she just can't remember. She notices a girl sitting alone and joins her. The girl turns out to be a nurse, and she begins sharing the story of her own curse. They kept talking, and before they knew it, they'd completely warmed up to each other. They left the restaurant together, and that night, as usual, the heroine descended from the mountain. Snow was gently falling from the sky. She noticed a man abandoning his dog on the street and walking away. Feeling heartbroken, she took the dog with her and followed the man. The heroine, seeing this, shot a love bullet at the man, making him fall in love with his dog so he'd never abandon it again. The next day, dear viewers, the heroine attended an art exhibition about love angels. By coincidence, the hero was there too. When they met, the hero was annoyed with her for making him pay for her drinks, while she was upset with him for leaving her at the police station. But when she found out he did it because he was worried about her, her opinion changed instantly. She thanked him, asked his name, and tried to get to know him, but he refused to shake her hand, saying he wasn't sociable, and walked away to stand at a distance. However, he was puzzled. He didn't see any love threads attached to her, which was strange because everyone else had them. The heroine noticed him staring intently at her and wondered if he had a crush on her. She walked up to him and warned, "You shouldn't fall for me. Anyone who loves me ends up getting hurt." As she got closer, she caught a whiff of his scent and found herself captivated. She leaned in slightly, trying to smell him more. The hero grew nervous, locking eyes with her. He felt drawn to her, but she became embarrassed, apologized, and walked away, confused by his behavior. Later, the nurse who had been with the heroine at the restaurant disappeared, and the police launched an investigation. The restaurant owner recalled seeing someone following the nurse. And when the detective reviewed the security footage, he saw the hero threatening the dog's owner with a gun. The detective grew suspicious. Though the hero's face wasn't visible, little did he know he was on the wrong track. Eventually, it was discovered that the missing nurse was married, and unfortunately, she was unfaithful. The detective interrogated her lover, who admitted to meeting her the day she disappeared, but denied knowing her whereabouts. They'd had an argument because she was pregnant, and he'd left her on the roadside. But with no evidence against him, the detective decided to look into the hero. Meanwhile, the hero was driving, following the heroine out of curiosity. She was the only person he'd ever met without a love thread. Suddenly, the heroine received a call from the clinic. A dog had been in an accident and was in critical condition. She rushed there immediately, with the hero trailing behind. Discovering she was a veterinarian, she managed to save the dog's life, then returned home. Now, the hero knew her address, and he was desperate to figure out why she didn't have a love thread. That night, he dreamt of her approaching him, warning him not to fall in love with her. He woke up in a panic, only to find his friend, who was currently in his dog form, snuggled beside him. The next day, the detective tracked down the dog owner whom the hero had threatened. But to his surprise, the man said the gun wasn't even real. The guy was actually really nice. I'd love to meet him again to thank him. He saved my dog. The detective was baffled by this. and finally realized the hero had nothing to do with the case. Meanwhile, the heroine kept thinking about the hero and the scent she'd noticed on him. She realized it was the smell of mulberry trees, a scent she'd loved as a child. Her friend teased, "You're definitely falling for him. He reminds you of happy memories." At that moment, the detective walked into the clinic. He was surprised to see that all the vets were men, until he laid eyes on the heroine. Mesmerized by her beauty, he couldn't stop staring. He quickly took her number and waited his turn, clearly smitten.